Good morning and welcome to SIRENNET Television. I'm Stuart.
I'm Chris.
And we're going to be talking about a product that has come into us here at SIRENNET Television this morning from Star, a company based in Avon, New York. So good morning to everybody in New York. The product itself actually is a 258 HTD. I'm reading the script here, so that's just the way it works sometimes. But it's brand new. It's a great light, and it's got some pretty interesting features. Now, let me explain to you a little bit about the light before Chris gets into the really heavy-duty tech stuff. Just grab it off here for a second, Chris. The light right now is a magnetic version, so you can get it as a magnetic or as a permanent mount. There are some differences between the lights depending on how you want to purchase it. Obviously, magnetic is self-explanatory. It's got a nice protective area there that will endeavor to protect your roof. And again, with all magnetic product, you're not supposed to use it when you're driving. We have to say that because it's a liability issue, but be realistic. Drive with care. They're not designed to stay on at high speed, but again, you can move around the parking lot. The other thing too, also worth noting about magnetic product, this is just in general, is that the amount of metal in the roof of vehicles today is not the same as the amount of metal that was in the roof in vehicles in 1955. So it's a lot different, and you need to be wary of that. Also, if it's wet, it can slide off. So again, simple, common sense usage when it comes to this kind of product. Now, one of the other aspects about this particular light is permanent mount. If you do get the permanent mount version, you can use the mounting bolts that are shown here to permanent mount the light. Obviously, they're currently holding on the magnetic portion. You also have an ability for a pipe thread, that's a 1-inch pipe thread, to pole mount this light. Again, that is with the permanent mount product. So I've given the sort of chat about the magnetic and the pipe and the pole and that kind of thing. You get to talk about the technical stuff.
Ooh, fun.
Got to keep Chris happy.
The technical specs. Nice, full 360-degree LED coverage. And what's nice to know, in an amber or in a blue configuration, or mix of the two, Class 1 SAE, so for your fire, rescue, law enforcement, and DOT applications, perfect for highway and byway usage. The unit itself, nice profile here, and as Stuart mentioned, different varieties of mounting, so depending on how you're going to affix it for your application.
This also has a Gen 4 LED in it?
It does have Generation 4.
Okay.
Gen 4, Generation 4?
I say Gen 4.
Gen 4. We'll call it Gen 4.
Okay.
True. And speaking of that, I don't think I told you what I was going to do once you gave this over to me, is to give the folks at home a better view of the insides and what makes this beacon the unique beacon that it is on the inside. I'm going to go ahead, take this nice polycarbonate UV-resistant dome off, and it's actually screwed on. So
and that is a nice feature of this particular product, is that you got to eat your Weetabix in the morning, but basically you can screw the top off, as opposed with some other manufacturers where there are different screws mounted around the light. So I guess it's depending how you feel about mounting the beacon to the base, but in this particular case, Star has a screw-off top.
They do, and reason being with this one having the screw-off dome, and the screw-off dome is intentional on this unit, is that the fact when you have this at home, you can go in here and through switching some switches and dip switches, you can manipulate the flash pattern. So if you'd rather have it on something a little bit slower or something a bit faster, depending on the attention that you want your beacon to gain, unscrew it, adjust the pattern as it's shown in the install guide inside here, and there you have it.
Now, one thing though, you're mentioning about changing the flash pattern, is that with a magnetic product in general, this is across the board, the flash pattern is preset. Again, the permanent mount unit, as with other manufacturers, the same as with Star, you have the ability to select different patterns. So when you get the permanent mount version of this light, yes, you can select the patterns, but when you get the magnetic version, you'd have to take the top off then and make some adjustments internally if you want to change the flash pattern?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Do you recommend that? What do you think?
I don't recommend it.
You think leave it alone?
I think leave it alone.
Yeah. It's usually good advice. So now it has a different, this light's been around for a little bit of time, but they've made the bulb area, which is the best way to describe this, it looks like a tulip actually, They've mounted this on top of the shaft in which the diodes are placed, and they've made this larger, so it has a much wider spread of light than the previous generation.
That's correct.
And you can see the diodes mounted inside here. I think the close-up camera should be able to get in close on that. Let's see what the boys can do in camera 3.
And inside here, on the tower, you have a total of 4 diodes in each color. So with this being an amber and blue, 8 diodes total, 4 amber, 4 blue.
I love the way you correct me. I say shaft, you say tower, potato, tomato, you know.
Milk, milk.
So, also epoxy coated as well. So again, it's going to take the environmental sort of stuff you're going to throw at it, more or less. So again, nice and protected from that perspective. Now the dome, as Chris mentioned, is only going to be available in clear with this configuration. It is also a Title 1 light, so it's basically a high output unit. I'm going to put the dome back on the top here. I said title, I meant class, so you can correct me, it's fine. So he battles to put the top back. Am I putting the top back on right there, Chris? See, I need an expert. There we go. Let's turn this light on because it's quite interesting.
Mind holding on to it?
Oh, yeah.
Here?
Oh,
Thank
wow.
you, sir.
So you can see right now that this light is amber. It's giving 360-degree flash on this. And then it goes to blue.
And what's interesting to know with this beacon here is on the 12-volt plug-in, so nice thing with the magnetic suction base here, easy operation, plugs right into the 12-volt outlet in the vehicle. It integrates on-off switches. You have a total of 2, and with that you can manipulate, well, shouldn't say manipulate, control which color you want to have on at one time. So in this case, A for amber, as long as that button is activated, it'll stay locked into the amber position. Go ahead and switch it over, and as long as B is put to power, blue will be flashing away. Put them to on in conjunction, and there you have it. Both colors alternating back and forth.
Now this is interesting because you can get this light in amber, red, and blue, and you can mix accordingly. So in theory, if you decided, you could have this as a blue and red light, or a red and amber light, should the need arise. And if, of course, you just wanted to have it one particular color, you can do that as well. Pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too, actually.
What
It's
is
nice.
it? Aren't there some of those plow folks out there and some of those state DOTs
Yep.
where amber and blue is the prevalent colors, and being able to isolate them is important for the vehicle and what the vehicle is doing at the moment, especially in the plow industry.
So there you have it. The Star 258 HTD. It's available here on SIRENNET. Big shout out again to the gang over there at Avon in New York. But before we go, Chris is going to say,
I'm going to go take this outside.
and I'm going to stay inside. So for me, it's goodbye, and from Chris,
Goodbye, but going to go put this on a car, so you're going to see that in a moment.
thank you. Thanks for watching SIRENNET Television.